Hello, I will describe you your lab session for the week of 30th of March, and this is common task for ECON 221 and ECON 222. And our purpose here is just to keep our mind fresh in the remaining part of the semester, which will be totally online, and keep our minds learning. And your task description will arrive as a video, and your TAs will be sending the video link to you before the lab session, and you'll be seeing hopefully this before the lab session. And the conduct of the lab will be simple. So you will hold some 40 minutes Zoom discussion meeting with the TAs at regular schedule. If you don't know the schedule, just see your SRS accounts for the meeting information and other stuff. And then just know this tasks will be completed individually. Of course, sharing some views with the friends is not a big sin, so just go for it. But try to submit your own, let's say, version of the discussion. This is what I prefer. So when you're submitting your findings in each lab session, you will do this before the lab session ends. So you will not be spending more time than needed, and you will do this via email to your, let's say, sections TA. And if you don't know the TA's email addresses, then they will inform you about the addresses. And format is simple. You'll not be using any attachments in your emails. You will just describe your findings in the email message body. Of course, without exceeding 500 words. Even 500 words may be something longer than needed. But if you want to go for more than 500 words, no problem. Still, just be somehow efficient and try to present your views or, let's say, findings effectively. And we will use some grading, of course, a relaxed version of grading, but still according to the 0, 30, 50, 70, 100 scheme. So this will somehow attach some value to work you are doing in the labs. Okay, I hope there's no problem. In case there is a problem, your TAs will be informing you or assisting you all the time. So now, use some browser. I'm using Google, but this is not, of course, a must for you. You can use any other browser of your choice. And on my browser screen, I see, let's say here, covidvisualizer.com. And this site presents some, let's say, pictorial view of what's happening about the disease throughout the world. So you can just play with this. I'm showing you just China here, and out of some 80,000 cases, so now almost 75,000 of them just recovered. 3,000 people unfortunately deceased, and somehow 2,500 people are still actively, let's say, sick. So the site, I guess, is a good one. Just gives you some picture, but of course, don't try every, let's say, single statistical or, let's say, data providing website. We'll also talk about this in a couple seconds. So maybe the best information source just to learn something about coronavirus and the other stuff is just World Health Organization's dedicated page, and they are somehow providing you rolling updates on coronavirus disease. And here also they show you some, let's say, WhatsApp channel, which is executed by some bot, I guess. If you send some hi message in English to this number, just as the pointer shows you, then you can just use the bot. And on the other pages provided by World Health Organization, you will see many more, let's say, other items of knowledge and information, maybe some raw data as well. So when you go into some simple research, you can just go and do this on some, let's say, simple browser search. And in this one, when you enter COVID-19, this gives me mostly results about Turkey because of the location settings. But anyway, you can find any kind of results and some statistics about countries. So every time you go into web page, first, of course, you assess the validity or, let's say, value of the web page. Maybe not every web page is reliable. Maybe not every web page or data set is updated frequently enough. So somehow be careful. But anyway, we will talk about this. So now, when you go into this, some basic search about epidemic forecasting will give you some idea about how the people around the world, the scientists or technicians, find numbers. Go and do this basics of epidemic forecasting or any other kind of with other keywords or key phrases, any other kind of research. So try to get the gist. The main idea, I mean, the bottom line, how they do this, what are the probabilistic or statistical models about epidemic forecasting is about, let's say, trying to technically infer numbers about the future. Of course, these are introductory courses of probability and statistics. In Econ 221, you learn basic probability, and Econ 222, you learn about estimation and inference. Of course, this is some early stage for you, but going and doing some, let's say, simple search about epidemic forecasting will give you some very good idea about what models are good, what models are not, in which country, what kind of models are being used, or what numbers, what statistical numbers or forecast numbers are valuable and what others are not, and why. So you can just understand this going into this simple searches. Of course, prefer, let's say, edu domain, let's say, resources mostly. uh, Also some, let's say, valuable journals, reputable journals, scientific journals around the world. So if you want to go and learn more about, let's say, reputable journals, go to Science Citation Index, Social Science Citation Index, or some other, let's say, dedicated medical, let's say, publication indexes. So now, among those, I picked some, let's say, publication from some public institution in the United States, if I'm not wrong. So here, this page, or let's say, article is talking about basic models for disease occurrence in epidemiology. So this is from the International Journal of Epidemiology, and this is something from 1995, some old, let's say, article, but still, you may get something out of this. So as a friendly warning, don't try to understand every single, let's say, hardcore statistical or mathematical structure inside. Just try to download this and go over the article for some couple, let's say, minutes. If you cannot reach on your basic, let's say, internet connection, just try to establish some weekend VPN connection from your computer. This VPN is virtual private network, and Weekend Computer Center (BCC) just guides you through how to establish some VPN connection to the university, let's say, resources. If you are connected through VPN, then you can use any resource available on the campus as if you were on the campus from your home. So now, one final search can be about, let's say, basic probability and epidemiology. I just did this just straightforwardly, and from some other universities or public institutions, you can use them all the time. Uh, you can see basically applications of probability theory or statistical theory in epidemiology again. So try to go and see them. And your task in these searches is just to give some short summary of your findings. So when you go into this COVID-19 page, some basic web search, World Health Organization page, basics of epidemiology or epidemic forecasting page, this article, and this final search, you will just give your very initial impression about the volume of science dedicated to this epidemic cases. Of course, this COVID-19 is an epidemic, but as this is widespread throughout the world, so also contagious from country to other countries. It's a global, let's say, event now. So this is a pandemic now. Also learn about this terminology. What is the basic differences between epidemics and pandemics? If there are no differences, it's good. If there are differences, just cite them in your simple writing. And some final thing before we finish this week's, let's say, task description. Uh, this is some a series page about finding unscientific, or let's say, bogus things. BOGUS. This bogus things in digital world. So many people say numbers. Many people tell their opinions. Many people somehow argue, or let's say, argue for and against some things. But on this page, and there are some dedicated, again, well, let's say, purposed courses about calling bullshit. You will try to learn how to distinguish some valuable information from invaluable information. This is very important because uh, when we are not able to somehow distinguish the values of information provided at different sources, then we will somehow be the prisoners of, let's say, the digital world, where everybody can say something. But of course, as the students of, let's say, economics, business administration, and philosophy and international relations, as far as I know, these departments are in my classes. So you need to be well informed by what's happening in the world. So being well informed just requires some efforts to distinguish what is somehow bogus from what is valuable. So just go and try to see this page. Of course, this is some long page with the pages under it. But anyway, try to get the gist. And when you learn how to distinguish things, it will be very useful in the upcoming weeks. So let me summarize. What will you be providing in your, let's say, email responses to your, let's say, TAs? Basically, you will provide what you have seen in basic web searches, what you have seen on the visualizer, what you have seen on World Health Organization page, and what you have seen somehow in the basic models of probabilistic models of epidemiology, and finally, how you can distinguish valuable information from the non-valuable ones. So I hope you will love this. Somehow follow your schedules again from SRS and be in class on time with your TAs. And we will see whether this strategy works or not this week. And as a final remark, you don't need to use any, let's say, software, no spreadsheet, no other thing. Just I rely on your, let's say, basic understanding of probability and statistics, also your skills with pen and pencil of solving some questions on the paper. So thank you and see you in the next lecture.